Hey guys, welcome to Fishing Tackle Channel. Again, this time around, I wanted to introduce you guys the most underrated fishing boat in Delaware, Maryland, saltwater fishing. So this is off of Lewes, Delaware, a fisherman's wharf, and I believe this boat is called the Thelma 5. There's like Thelma 4 for 8 hours. This is Thelma 5 for 10 hours. Usually they have it for late fall, winter for 10, 12 hours, as well as early spring for 10 hour um, when the black sea bass season begins. So why do I call it underrated? Because for some reason they just don't have enough people to go out. But thing is, every time my buddy and I get on this boat, we do really well. So maybe it's the price, I don't know, but for some reason, everyone that gets on this boat at least get 10 to a limit on. Yeah, if you ask people that always constantly come, they say, "Oh yeah, I limited last week," or "I came a couple days ago, I limited." So I don't know, maybe it's the Facebook, it's the website that is struggling to get people's attention, or it could just be the weather. But other than the summertime when they're flounder fishing, which I wouldn't recommend for any boat if you're not an avid flounder fishing. Um, I mean, this boat for springtime early when it's opening on 10-hour trips as well as fall trip, I've done tremendously well. For this trip, 10-hour on, I believe, let me check, May 18th trip. It was a 10-hour trip. Does cost about for 8 hours 115, and for 10 hour $135. And they give you three kinds of baits. They'll plus extra for flounder, so you get typically a shiner, and you get clam as well as squid. And then for flounder, they'll throw in a couple cut baits for flounder ribbons or belly meat. So they do. Definitely get your money's worth on the baits. So even for tog fishing, I think they were using the what is it? White Asian crab? Oh, white.
What's that? Oh, you got
What is
ling.
it?
Yeah.
I can't remember. But here,
You
my
sure?
buddy, I like ling. I don't know why people don't like ling. They call it hake or hake or
Nice. Thanks, man.
little ling cod. Like they call it a ling on the East Coast. But it's one of those bottom fish, and they feed on like they're somewhat of a muddy but cold water fish. So you catch them when the water's still cold. And I've been looking to catch him. And this trip on my buddy's first fish, he caught it, and he knew I was looking for it, so he gave me the only catch he had. But again, Fisherman's Wharf, Thelma 5, I think they got somewhat lost a lot of their regulars because one, they got older and they no longer came, and then the younger ones, um, the captain changed and there were some turnover with the captain. So like back in 2020 or 21-ish, I mean, basically this boat was shoulder to shoulder, packed, and it was super popular. I can't, it was Captain something. I can't remember the captain, but he did a really good job, like very similar to the anglers deep sea fishing. This captain had his own spot marked, secret spot that he would go out, and you're like the only boat, and he would run away from other boats that were following him to steal his spots, his secret spots. But it was super popular. The whole boat would limit out like 2 hours before, and we would come back early, or he'll be fishing for something else. We're catching limit sea bass and scalp. What is it? Scalp. Um, right, porgies and bluefish, and I mean, people were leaving with bags and bags, their chest full of it. And I think people got spoiled by that because something happened between the owners of the boat and this captain, and he
Oh,
quit or
nice.
he got fired. There's a whole drama, and there were different stories about it. I don't know the details so I've only heard things. But anyways, what happened is they wound up hiring other captains. So um, and I guess they weren't doing so well, and I mean, the regulars and then the customers were, you know, stopped coming left and right after year or something like that. It went from, shoulder to shoulder, full sold out boat to maybe like 10 to 15 people or so. And so there was this reputation, I guess, of people not getting their money's worth, and so people stopped coming. And but the regulars continued. I continued to come, and when I came, I was catching. Maybe because I'm not a beginner and I'm able to take home some fish. But I don't think I've never skunked on this boat. I would, even those days where we're not catching sea bass, I came home with a bag full of ribbon fish. Somehow he got us some ribbon fish and croakers, and I had like 25 ribbon fish. As an Asian, if you're Asian, you're like ribbon fish, the belt fish. It's really good fish for Asians to just grill, pan fried or just grill. And it's very expensive if you go to Asian markets. But we're I came home with that. It was like catching barracuda, one after another. I mean, and they're just schools full of it. The captain kept moving away, but thankfully he kept moving it into the spot. And then like croaker after croaker, I brought home like three or four croaker. I didn't think my wife liked it. She asked me to catch more, but I never seen another croaker on that boat again. But what I'm saying is, yeah, they somehow that one season or so, or a summer season where people were just not
Nice one.
catching fish,
Yeah.
somehow this boat got a bad reputation. People stopped coming. Um, I think most of the people moved down to like Ocean City boats. But yeah, they're great, but this boat is still really good if you guys go on the right time of the year. So again, summer when they're targeting flounder, not
That
so
was
good
good.
unless that's all you're looking for. Hog fishing was okay, but definitely sea bass last fall, and then this spring couple times we're just limiting, and it was just incredible fishing. And everybody that were on the boat with me on this day too, they were there because they limited on this boat before, a couple days before or a week before, so that's why they came. But this boat is like a huge boat, and you could have up to like about I think 80 to 100 people or so, but we only had like 10 people, 10 15 people, like so we have ample room, and the bathroom's clean overall. Just um, everything is somewhat well taken care of. So it's a good boat. There are people some complaining, but everybody limited. Almost I think everybody limited. So they were having fun. It was a non-stop catching, and for spring compared to I think a week before or so, or week after, I went on a Morning Star, and then I caught like six fish, six keeper, barely five or six keeper. So that was surprising. So I was like, if I'm gonna pay 135 to 155, maybe I'll just go back to Fisherman's Wharf. Um, but again, like comparable to Morning Stars and other boats, this captain. I think the original captain, HD. I think he's the owner and a captain who retired and came back from it because they had a lot of turnover. Again, I don't know the story. If you guys know, leave a comment. But I bought Christmas special. That's something I recommend. Buy the Christmas special because if you for 8 hours it's $115. But I think if you
Oh,
buy right before Christmas a set of five, I think I paid like $85. So when I'm going 10-hour trip, they did graciously accepted my 8 hours, and all I had to do was pay $20 more, because the value itself is 115 and the 10 hour is $135. So you pay $20 more to get on the 10 hour. And they do have 12-hour trips. They had it last year when it got into I think late December, so that's something to watch out for. Um, they're very friendly. Sherry, who is the person that schedules you for the reservation, she's very responsive via text or calls. She answers 90%, 99% of the time, and she's really nice. She welcomes kids. I mean, the boat is very
Thanks.
welcoming to kids too. So if you get seasick for smaller boats, this boat is definitely it because I felt like I was on one of those smaller mini cruise. It's a big boat. Oh, you'll know when I say it's a big boat. I'm talking about not the Thelma 4. I'm talking about Thelma 5, the huge double deck boat. But here again, just nonstop. I'm dropping and I'm getting good size keeper. There's some close ones. I was getting so many bites that anything that was right on the money on the 13 inch or a little bit over 13 inch or close, I just threw it back. It wasn't worth it. I do feel like somebody was monitoring or telling the deckhands that maybe I was keeping a small fish, but like I've actually had people complaining why I was throwing a good keeper size from captain and deckhand, so I was a little bit offended that one of the deckhands were he wasn't accusing me, he was just reminding me, hey, make sure you all of them are over 13 inches because if you get caught um, you're gonna get ticketed, which is he's just watching out for me, but I feel like the deckhands are pretty laid back on this boat, and they're very responsive if you ask for bait, but they're not the type that will like be a sticklers about checking your fish or something like that. So I assume somebody was again. There's this stereotype that um, I guess because some Asians deserve it, but again, I'm not the type that will keep a 12 and a half or close to 13 inch. I usually throw back anything that's too close to where there's no minus. Like if anything is like plus minus 1.1 inch, I'm gonna throw it back because I know it's gonna shrink and it's not going to expand. So I'm not going to keep them. But that's what happened. But anyways, it worked. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's a good reminder. So I double checked. I even had my buddy take a look at some of the ones that were pretty close and said it was more than enough that it wasn't gonna shrink. So it was a good trip. I mean, it was.
They're sort of above the
I think
bottom,
I limited before
about
my
like
buddy.
six,
My buddy, the
like
guy
five, ten
next
feet
on my
from
left
the
hand,
bottom.
he usually out catches me. But I think I limited earlier than he did, so I caught some of the fish and I gave it to him. I think at some point I decided to move over to fishing for flounder. Here you go. Everybody's just like nonstop catch. That's what, and this isn't like a fluke of um, 1 day trip that somehow we're getting a lot of bites.
This is
And
a good,
he wasn't like
probably the
anchoring.
biggest one
Somehow
I got.
the captain
Oh, it's
set the
still.
boat to drift in the right location. And then as we were drifting, I guess we weren't drifting fast enough or drifting slow enough that he didn't have to anchor, and we just had nonstop keeper fish, good sized fish. Only reason I didn't go back after May was they shifted over to flounder um, for some reason. I'm pretty sure they had a good reason. I can't remember why. Or the fish were scattered and their spot, their marked spot, no longer had the sea bass. So and they didn't. I don't think they wanted to go out that far. Again, remember this is like a 2.5 hour out and 2.5 hour in. So you're using out of 10 hours, you're using about, including plus minus the moving around from one spot to another. Overall, it's like 5 hours to 6 hours, just overall trip, and maybe you'll get a 4 hour plus minus 5 hours of fishing time. But it was good. Again, I limited, and I was able to just mess around and try other baits as well. So it was a pretty good trip overall. So if you guys haven't been here before and like concerned about going back here, I assure you, you'll catch fish on these 10-hour trips. I'm trying to go on this Saturday. Um, this Saturday, November, what is it, November 9th, on this boat. But apparently, talking to Sherry, there's only like 6 people at this point, including me and my buddy. It'll be just 8 people fishing, and they need 12 people. So if you guys are watching, hopefully anyone that's subscribed to my channel or looking for saltwater fishing, call Sherry on his number. There's a Facebook, or just Fisherman's Wharf, and or text her on the phone number and get yourself a reservation, or do an online reservation as well. They don't charge you. This boat is one of those boats that don't charge you extra fees. I know other places like Ocean Princess and anglers, and they charge you anywhere from $6 to $10 extra for online reservation, but this boat doesn't. So that's another convenience for you guys. Yeah. And they're very good at, if they're canceling, they're very good at contacting you via email as well as phone call to let you know that it's canceled the night before. Or you guys should just be proactive and call. At this point, this is, I think, when I realized that this shad, which very closely resembles pretty much a sand eel, uh, was getting me a lot of keeper fish. At this point, I wasn't even thinking of sand eel. I was just using my drop shot, and I threw a clam in there. But I definitely got a lot of keeper. And if you guys do struggle with just fresh baits, and if you want to try something else, just go to Walmart or Bass Pro and get one of those freshwater shad or darker color that resembles a sand eel. Sand eel, they call it sand eel, but it's not really eel. It's more like anchovy-looking fish. If you guys haven't seen one spit it out, so those are really good options. Anything that resembles like a crab, small baby crab, is another. See, they're very aggressive, and what I do is I put a clam, and they would steal the clam. But one of the good thing about having the shad is, even when they steal the baits, the smaller fish steals the bait, I still have that shad on there, so other big fish, or other, like a keeper fish, will still aggressively attack it, try to eat it, and then I'll get a pretty good sized fish. So um, if you guys are wondering which rod I'm using Daiwa jigging rod, slow pitch jigging rod.
This
One
this
is
thing is
called
worth it.
Blast, and
Shad.
I bought that for like $119,
Like
$159, and the yen rate was pretty good. Now it's like over $230. And then Vidal, I think Vidal, is another fishing rod, Daiwa jigging rod. It's highly recommended if you guys want Japanese domestic made jigging rod. And then the reel is both Daiwa. One is my Saltiga reel, and the gold one is my newer one. It's sort of a competitor to Osea, Shimano Osea. Is it no, I think
It seems like a
oh,
keeper,
never mind.
unless
This
I
is
got
Shimano Osea. So
It's
this
heavy.
one is Japan domestic product that's
It's
made
close.
in Korea. But here, I'm on a roll. Once the fish stop biting on the fresh clams and squid, you can see on the left-hand side of my both left and right, those guys weren't really catching
So
keeper size, or they were just getting a lot of nibbles or getting their bait stolen. But so
oh,
having a lot of different options when you guys are preparing for fishing, you're not. This is called a fishing for a reason, not catching. That's sort of a joke from a captain or deckhand to those that are complaining about not being
small.
able to catch fish, saying you're here fishing, not catching, or like trying to get their money worth of fish, which doesn't even make sense. So just save that money and go to a sushi bar instead. But again, yeah, I'm having a great time here, drifting, a perfectly nice drift. throwing some jigs in there now that I have enough fish, keeper fish, trying out different ones. So for these jigs, you need a right jigging rod and the right reel. I would recommend for slow pitch jigging, try to get the lightest rod specifically for jigging because you need it to bend and not snap or break because there's going to be a lot of up and down movement. And you want it to be light with the reel too because you're lifting up and down and up and down, it's going to strain your arm. So unless you want a muscle failure in the first hour, you want something light and easy
How
to
many
jig.
ounce are you using?
For
100 grams?
the yeah, I'm here. I'm asking how many ounce my buddy's using for his jig. I think
Oh, baby. Double.
because that matters too. I think personally, lightest is the best, just because it gets the best presentation when you drop it and when you lift it up. It's not going to fall to the bottom as
You want to try
fast
this?
as
The
a
bait I'm using?
heavy
The
slow
plastic? You
jig.
want to try the plastic?
So so if you could
The
go
top
like
one, only
40
the
to
top one
60
works.
ounce, perfect. If you but if you can't hold
And so
bottom,
far, it's been a
you want
keeper.
to go up to 80 to 100
Or
grams, or even 150 up to 150
double,
200
but
grams. But heavier it
small.
is, less of an action you're gonna get, and only time you would really need something heavy is if there's a heavy drift or the water current is so strong that your jig is just not hitting bottom. It's just going around left and right diagonally and tangling up with other people. But jigging is fun. I would recommend starting with the bait, but which will attract a lot of fish when you're dropping. So you'll get both the the slow pitch jig action that will attract fish and the bait that will get the bite that you want from the fish. But only downfall about putting a bait on your assist hook on your slow pitch jig is that it's going to not give the right action because it does put a weight and it takes away from um, the fluttering or the way it drops vertically or
A
horizontally.
lot of fish down there.
So it's an extra sort of
There you go.
weight that you're adding to it. So if you are struggling to catch fish without the bait, go ahead and put the bait. But
Dang.
if you're easily catching
Let me,
bait without
I'll
the
rig it
bait,
up
you're
for you
most
the way
likely
I do it.
have a chance to get more aggressive, bigger fish that will pursue your jig over small fish that are just looking to steal your bait. So that's one of the reasons to use metal jig. Another thing, I know, I'm glad, just like slow pitch jigging, a lot of people are using metal jig
Thank you.
now. Vice, like 3, 4 years ago, people would look at me weird, like, what are you doing? You're not gonna catch any fish with that. But now everybody's using jig. 80, 90% of the regulars or 100% of the regulars will use jig. And then even when those visiting like new time fishermen are struggling, the deckhands will offer them to use try
Yeah, they're
out
fighting.
metal jig
They're
for
aggressive
them to
right
catch,
now.
and I've seen people be a lot more
It is
successful
wide
with it
open.
sometimes. But I've noticed that people are still not really jumping on the board with jigging rod as well as ultra light rods. Only deckhands or captains understand it, and they ask me about it, and they do own a couple of them. But a lot of people I've seen them, I could hear them going, "Oh, look at that rod. What is he gonna catch with that?" But like you'll be surprised. I've used jigging rods to pull. I mean, in Asia, you see people using jigging rod, those thin, ultra light jigging rod to pull up, uh, uh, like yellowtail, um, bonito, and even like like barracudas. So, or some of the smaller tuna fish too. So, no, it's definitely much more fun to catch, and sometimes using the
There we go.
jigging rod helps to along with your drag to pull in the fish much easier than having that stiff rod that might snap your line, or the rod itself will snap if you don't have your drag set properly. But yeah, I'm surprised people are still using. I'm glad most people moved away from monofilament on their reel, and most of the people are using a braid now, and hopefully but then they're still using like 50, 60, 70 pound crazy thick braid and monofilament. Hopefully most people will start moving over to jigging rod and jigging reels. And if you're wondering why aren't the boats renting those things out, like, it's because it's expensive. Jigging rod, they're not going to let you borrow a expensive, high quality jigging rod and expensive reels that would cost you like $200-300, and it's if you don't handle it properly, it could easily break or snap. So yeah, if you guys have any questions about this, yeah, like if you're, I would love to make more videos on Fisherman's Wharf. They just don't go on enough trip. I could be their ambassador and pretty much go fishing on this boat every week and make more videos. That's what I should be doing. That's what I should have done. Like, this boat, it definitely deserves a lot more customers. In a way, uh, I don't want to fish in a crowded area, but you know, at least I would be happy to have like 20 people constantly on the boat. And that's another thing, you know, I don't think like some of the business owners are not there. I mean, there's no time for them to market. I think the best they could do is post it on Instagram and Facebook. But there needs to be like the Maryland, state of Maryland, or Delaware recreational or small business advocates
really hard,
helping
and I could feel it just letting it go.
helping these guys with
Did you have any of this?
helping these small businesses, right? The fishing headboat businesses with marketing, as well as like, why isn't there like a website or an app that could be centralized to promote better reservation, right? Everybody has their own website with different fees. Um, for a company, maybe they get a commission. They probably take most of the commission. When those prices could be, you know, given right back to the owners of these boats. But why isn't there those kind of programs? Why isn't there programs where they could help establish like a membership, right? For regulars to have these memberships, or annual memberships that are committed, and maybe with the annual membership, some kind of like a discounted price for people to fill up the boat, fill up the empty seats and stuff like that. I mean, there are so many different ideas. I feel like the city, as well as the state, should do a better job funding these kind of cultural hobby. It's a great hobby. I mean, these are one of those hobbies where, yeah, a lot of people from different backgrounds come together, whether you're Asian, black, white, you know, Latino, come together, and people just get along, just talk fish, not politics. There are a few bad apples out there that ruin it for you, but most of them, they come, respect each other, and they're just to fish and have fish talk, right? Share insights about how to catch flounder rigs. They're asking about each other's rigs and fishing rods and stuff like that. I know there's some like annual summer programs and things like that, promotions that they do, but I definitely think these boats, especially like Fisherman's Wharf, deserve more recognition, I think. I know some people have very bad experience with it, but you know, it's a headboat. I mean, they're not there to get Michelin stars, so I don't have a high expectation, but yeah, I feel like this boat, as well as other boats in Ocean City, the captains and deckhands are 99% of the time very friendly. They go out of their ways to do, and they deserve every tip and the time that you guys really give to promote these boats to go out more often. But this is a quite long video. I hope you guys are subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the video. I do want to make more videos. I didn't think I would have over, what is it, 1,300 subscribers now. I didn't think. I just do this for fun. I like to watch it myself because if you guys catch flounders and you catch this huge ones, right? Do you guys ever remember at what point or what you were doing when you caught it, right? I never remember it. So just watching this video, I'll catch a flounder. I caught a few flounder here. I think I only have one or two keeper. But even jigs, I never realized I even used this jig, and it seems like it was doing pretty good. And I have it sitting there, and just the other day I was wondering, have I used this jig before? But apparently I did in May, so I'm throwing that in my tackle box. This reel, this Saltiga, this one normally I paid a lot of money. I mean, I saved. I think I used the Amazon points from my Amazon credit card. I had like $350 point or something like that. How much did I buy this? I feel like I bought this reel, which is crazy price. I bought this Saltiga reel for, I gotta check. I think normally goes for over $300,
That's
but
a foul hook. Come on.
I think I bought it for.
I had a good fish.
I'm checking right now as we speak. Yeah, this is called Daiwa
Oh, no, never
17
mind. I got a good fish.
model 17 Saltiga BJ 200 HL. HL is for, I think, heavy.
Oh, there we go.
How much did I buy this for? Before, after tax, I bought it for about 194.
Yeah.
With the
Oh,
tax. It was 277. But I got it for 194.
Heavy.
Which is a very good price because you're not going to get one of these for anything below $350.
There you go. There you go. That's a nice one.
But it's a very good reel, and if you guys have a chance to buy them on Amazon, it gets shipped from Japan. It's made in Japan, which is a good reel. Here, again, that presentation, the way I used that shad was basically replicating how a sand eel looks like. And I was in a row catching fish with that while other people were struggling with smaller fish or no fish at all.
That's small. It gets much smaller.
The problem with with me is if I was doing so well with that shad, I don't know why I was switching up to, what is it? I think this one is a jig or a fresh bait. Like, do you guys do that? Because I make those kind of mistakes. Switching up. I don't know why. I don't know. It may be some kind of psychological or my own arrogance, selfishness. I feel like, oh, I'll do even better. So at this point, I guess I'm kind of switching up to a flounder rig. Love those drag sound. You guys love those drag sound when you catch it. I'm tightening it up a little bit. It just means that I have a nice sea bass, a nice flounder, or I got too small sea bass. I try to keep my mouth closed. I've seen too many people celebrate early only to find out, acting like they had a huge fish, only to find out they had two small fish. Here's a nice keeper. Look at that. I didn't have to measure those. You know, based on the drag, the sound of the drag.
Flounder for the jackpot. Yeah, I gotta go. After this, I'm gonna get a bucket. Oh, this is a big one.
So this one is a Shimano Osea, like I said before. I
Oh,
wouldn't
this feels
pay. I
weird.
think it costs somewhere between 350 to
Maybe I
like
gotta
450. I
feel.
wouldn't pay for it.
Oh,
I've said it
big.
in many other videos. I got
Oh,
this
it's
for
alright.
free
Okay, sea bass.
from when I lived and worked in Korea. I went on one of those fishing boats where every summer all the boats have this promotion. I think they all get together. That's another thing. When you go on a boat in Korea, the whole harbor, all the fishing boat captains, they work together. There are like dozens and dozens of fishing boat, and they all get packed because they send each other their customers. They share locations with each other. I think they do that in Ocean City and Delaware, but not as well as they do it in Korea. And they do this summer promotion, not only to promote their own boat, but everybody agrees to do this. Like, hey, from May to launch, May 15th through 18th, every day somebody gets one of these gold reel or Infinity Shimano rod that's like 500 bucks, and they give it out for free just to promote and get people to come and fish. And then so I was fishing on one of the boat, and you don't pay them because Korea is pretty strict with gambling and stuff like that. So um, they could get in very big trouble. So they just do a promotion, and I don't know if it's a extra reel that they can't sell, or it's a brand new one.
You were
It's
asking
not
that.
some used one, or maybe it's just a
Oh,
donated
maybe.
promotion
I don't
one.
know. It might be a
But
big.
every boat does it, and every boat gets like 20
I think
people
it's
on a
flounder.
boat, and whoever that basically
Uh,
catches
maybe it's
the
just a sea bass. Big sea bass.
biggest size. So in Korea, they don't do by weight; they do by size of. Um, it was halibut, and I think
What
it
is
was
it?
close to black sea bass, some kind of fish. But they do by size, and if you get the biggest size
Where are you?
fish, which for me, I think when I caught that fish, it was
Oh,
like
it is.
32 or
Net.
34-inch
Yep.
halibut. Oh, here's my flounder. So, here's another tip. So anyways, that's how I won the first place for my reel. So for here, I believe I was the only one fishing for flounder on this boat. Everybody was fishing
Yep.
for sea
Net.
bass.
Right here. All right.
So, you know, I decided since I limited or I'm
All right.
done with
I'm bringing
sea
it in.
bass, I
Ready?
went with
Go.
the flounder.
All right.
So at this point, that was going to give me the pot, which wasn't even that big. Like I think we had like 10 people, 10 or at least at most like 100 bucks or something. Once I caught it, my buddy decided to switch
Oh,
it up to
I
flounder
have
now
another
that he
flounder.
knows there's flounder down there,
Oh, never
which is
mind.
crazy.
I think
He
it's
wound up catching like
sea
three
bass.
or four flounders,
No, I thought I
like
had
three
another
keeper.
flounder.
And then the gentleman next
There's another
to
flounder.
my right, very
If you
nice,
want it.
very friendly guy, very nice guy, positive. He caught one or two, and he had a giant, like 22-inch or 23-inch flounder, like
Nah, it's a
pretty
sea
heavy
bass.
one.
Never mind.
So my buddy was in the lead for a while until the person to my right also caught a flounder. I think that was it. The only people on the boat that caught flounder were just three of us, I think. Um, so when you start catching people with
You
flounder,
want it?
just ask how we
You want
caught
it?
it. If you don't have the
Right
bait,
here.
I think
Sure.
most of them are nice enough to offer it to you. But just go with the flow. Don't be stubborn and try to do your own thing. And if
Measure,
nobody's
double
catching
measure.
flounder, don't do it. Don't go for it. Don't waste your time. Only reason I've promised to myself I'm never going to catch flounder unless I'm on flounder fishing. I limit on my sea bass. So many times, I don't know if you guys do it. So many times I go there trying to limit for sea bass, and things get slow, and then I switch up to flounder rigs, and I get some nibbles, and I catch a smaller, undersized one, and I'm just obsessed with trying to catch a keeper, and wound up not catching any more sea bass or the flounder. So those are the mistakes I constantly make. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure am I the only one that does? Anyhow, if you guys watched this video so far with my commentary,
Oh
thanks,
yeah, yeah.
and hopefully, again, please subscribe. Here, my buddy,
Bring it
I think
in.
that's
Oh,
his
bring it in.
second or first.
No, no, bring it in.
There you go. Right away, I knew he had it. This one was a smaller fish, but he caught two. He did very well.
Yeah, it's probably about 17. Got it? Make sure it doesn't slip out. Hold on.
And he wound up catching like two more, something like that. I think today was like his best day catching pops. That tells you something about everything just being right.
Nice.
Bring it up before the shark gets it.
Oh, you know what I realized now that I think about it? This captain on this boat, when
Nice.
things are working, I don't know if it's the experience or just being stubborn, he was sticking to it. A lot of captains, just like
I
me,
got
when things
competition.
go well,
Watch out.
I think
Watch out for the
you think of
opening right there. Watch
maybe
out for
I
the
could get
opening.
even better, and then for captains, they second guess themselves and they try to move and find the even better spot, only to completely fail and have to come back. And by the time we come back to the original spot, the fish are gone or they stop biting. But on this boat, you'll definitely get, if the captain sees you catching fish and good sized fish, he'll stick around for hours. I think that uh, really works for people that continue to catch fish, and sucks for the people that are just completely not catching any fish. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've
Man, that one's
reached this
close. That might
far,
be bigger than mine.
listening to my commentary, my voiceover, as well as watching this
Bleed it.
video, if you guys do ever encounter
No.
my buddy or me,
No,
just
just keep
come
it.
up
Just keep it.
to say hi,
Just keep
whether
it. It's
you
fine.
are subscribed or
Huh?
not, and then I'll, I promise, I'll always have one of those tackle. Now I have like Uncle Mo's tackle that I'm going to give away. I'll always carry it on my tackle box, as well as some of the slow pitch jigs. And I'm surprised that I've had a couple people from California, and as well as quite a few people on Anglers and I think Ocean City and Morning Star that recognize my daughter more than me, but definitely recognized me and said hi. So um, that's what I'll do. If you just um, uh, let me know if you watch my channel, and I got some gifts for you. So rest of this year, just say, hey, where's my gift or something like that. Jokingly, before then, I'll probably give you something. But I hope to see you guys there. And what else was I gonna say? Um, yeah, I'm hoping to go on a trip almost every week. Um, so like, if I have to rank one of my, if I say most clean, fastest fish, and then well accommodating for family, a fishing headboat would be Ocean Princess. My favorite fishing boat personally is Captain Bob Judy V, Captain Chris, and his deckhand Will, I think, and formerly Frank. They're awesome. And most underrated, I would say, is a Fisherman's Wharf with Captain HD, I think, and Captain his daughter. There's a female captain. I can't remember her name. They're cool. Most underrated. Angler, most popular among anybody. I have several trips. I realized I went to on an angler a lot more than I did until it became super packed. And then Judith M, I really like the captain there, but I think both captains no longer run it, and I don't know what happened to Judith M in Ocean City. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you guys later.